Hi, I'm Ricky from Fonzie Games, and welcome to another Timelapse Tuesday video. This is the first video of a series where we'll be modeling this amazing artwork by Beck Halstead. I pulled the image into Blender and then set it up so that it can only be seen from one side. That way I can look at it from both sides without having the image in front of it. I then started modeling using a simple plane, going into side view and then just modeling the outlines. This is a very rough step, so I wasn't too careful about the shapes. Then I also modeled the most important lines, like these edges. Then I filled everything in, making sure I have enough geometry so that everything looks nice and round. I then mirrored the whole thing, and then with clipping turned on, I connected the two parts together in the middle where they should meet. Next I set the whole model to shade smooth and then marked the hard edges. Next up, I refined the overall shape a little bit, and then I got started on the handle, or rather the wrap that goes around the handle part. For the string, I used a simple plane and then deleted everything except for one edge, and then use a skin and subdivision modifier to create a solid string. That way I can just control the whole thing with just a couple of vertices, making adjustments much easier. For the tooth, I did the exact same thing I did for the hook itself. Start with one plane, then model the outside, and then the most important edges, mirror it, connect it, then refine the shape a little bit. This is still very rough, but it's just to get the general shape. For the ring I used the same technique I used on the string, but I started with a circle just to make it quicker. For the coral pieces I started with a cylinder, insetting it and scaling it, and then placed it roughly where they are on the concept. After refining the shape a little bit more, I duplicated the coral and placed them where they are on the concept and where I think they look good. Next up I modeled the orb. I started off with a simple UV sphere, deleting half of it, scaling it down, and then mirroring it. I then worked on the coral a bit more, making sure that they look somewhat attached and not just like someone glued them on. I gave all the different parts their own material so that they're much easier to differentiate. Then I got started on the low poly version. For the string I applied all the modifiers, then selected all the edges I wanted to keep, and then by inverting the selection and then deleting these edges, or rather dissolving the edges, I was left with only the edges that I needed. I did the same for the ring. The hook and the grip were already low poly enough, so I just marked some seams and UV unwrapped it. For the coral I deleted all the faces that were inside the hook, as they wouldn't be seen. I also made sure that there weren't any angons, so for the corals, selecting two vertices and using J to connect them with an edge, I made sure that the tops and bottoms weren't angons but quads. For the high poly version that we'll be using as a base for our sculpt, I first tried the remesh modifier, but that didn't give me the greatest results for the hook, and then it crashed. And the remesh did give an okay results for the tooth, so I stuck with that. For the ring and the string, a simple subdivision modifier did the job. As well as for the orb and the corals. For the corals I did need to mark some creases so that they're not completely round everywhere, but they have somewhat distinct edges. So I just marked those edges, and in the item tab I marked them as a crease. For the hook and the grip I did the same thing. I marked some creases and then I used the subdivision modifier. The subdivision modifier did change the shape of the handle a little bit, but I didn't notice that till after I was done sculpting, so I fixed that on the low poly afterwards. The low poly model is ready and the high poly model is ready for sculpting, and we will get to that in the next Timelapse Tuesday. Thanks for watching and see you next time.